welcome back. Thank you for joining me today. This is going to be the fire sign reading. So that is Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Now, firstly, it's important to set our intention and clear the space. And I like to do that in relation to each element's strength. So, for the fire signs of this delicious candied pumpkin candle, and if you would, just gaze into the flames and take some deep breaths and relax. Breathe in and hold and exhale and breathe in and hold and exhale and breathe in and hold and exhale. Wonderful, wonderful. And just kind of set your intention for the reading. Whatever questions you have on your mind, whatever you are looking for guidance about, but in a non-stress related way. So if you are thinking about, oh, this or that person stresses me out, this or that situation stresses me out, approach it from the problem-solving angle. How can I make it so that X, Y, or Z factor no longer causes me the stress and consternation that I am currently feeling on account of it? Great. Yeah, you're doing a great job so far. Awesome. Oh, my computer's working hard. Working very hard. So, let's get into the cards. For the fire sign reading today, I'm going to be using the Star Spinner Tarot deck. The Star Spinner Tarot deck. I really love this deck. I love the aesthetics of it. I like this deck a lot. I enjoy using it. The cards are a little tough to shuffle. So we will be starting with the sign of Aries. I did want to address something early on. I won't show you too much, but I got a blister on my thumb. Trigger warning, sorry. Aries, if you would go ahead and set your intention for the reading. And I do like to mention that when I'm done reading each sign, I turn the cards over, and then we go over to the extended and read all of the cards together, and I use the crystal and I get additional messages. So if that's something that interests you, please join us over on the members side of the channel. Just planning something out for later. Planning something out for later. It's going to be a surprise. Or actually, I hope you'll forgive me one moment. Yeah, I think that'll work. I have additional computer fans that are much quieter, so I wanted to go ahead and turn those on. Okay, Aries. So interesting spread so far. Making note of my timestamps. Oh, thank you, FIFA, and thank you for joining me today. Now, Aries, the first card that you get for today is the Temperance card reversed. The Temperance card has to do with practice, mastery, patience. It is honing your craft. It is communion with a higher power as well. This would be more like invocation and evocation rather than something like prayer. So when we're seeing the Temperance card showing up in the reverse, and especially in an Aries reading, it could be that you are not practicing certain skills in your life enough in order to improve at these particular skills. In addition to this, we have the Two of Pentacles crossing the current position. So the Two of Pentacles is a card of balance. That tells me that This Temperance card is not coming out because situations in your life are particularly unbalanced. Oh, thank you, Sophie. Yeah, I've gotten kind of like on this glasses kick for a minute. We'll see how long it lasts. The Two of Pentacles can also be about business relationships, business partnerships. But it's mostly a business partnership that is very evenly weighted. So this wouldn't be like necessarily you and your boss. This would be more like you and a coworker, or if you own a business, any co-owners in that business. Here in the past, we have the Six of Swords upright. You might even be in the middle of a move. You might be moving. You might be taking a trip. This would be something that had started in the past, but could be carrying over into the current situation because we see the card here is upright. Down here in the Imam Silai, we have cards that tell us about the current situation and how it's going to lead to our eventual destiny. I apologize, I have a bit of a frog in my throat today, so I'm going to try to deal with it. We have the World card in the reverse. Now, the World card is a card of completions. And we're looking at this in the context of this Temperance card, also reversed. Temperance is Sagittarius's card. The World card is associated with the planet Saturn and the element of Earth. And we have the fixed signs depicted on the World card here. So we've got mutable energy, we've got fixed energy. I'm not seeing Aries cardinal energy show up. You could be feeling a bit like a fish out of water in some ways, because we have this maybe feeling like you lack certain skills that you wish you would have practiced. Hi, Malik. And we also have this World card reversed, which is about trying to bring something to a close, trying to final and total something out. Excuse me. So from your perspective, we have the Three of Swords reversed. This Three of Swords in the reverse shows me that all the petty squabbling and bickering behaviors in your life are going to be left behind you. You are not going to be dealing with other people's drama anymore. An outsider's perspective looking in, this makes a lot of sense. We have the Judgment card and it is upright. So when we see this Judgment card upright and it is people looking in on your situation, they see you as being tested right now. And I can see from the cards here that certainly you are being tested. in some ways, the Judgment card is a bit of an oversimplification, but that's kind of how other people's perspectives tend to be about our lives, right? So for the future position, we have the Eight of Swords, such that you could be feeling trapped. You could be feeling like you don't know the way forward. So we come from this place of mobility in the past, where we have the Six of Swords. And then in the future, we kind of come to a standstill. Now, that's not to be feared. There's no reason to be alarmed about that. When we're looking into the future and we've come out of this place of mobility and the card in the future is upright, I think that this is a present concern of yours, that you're going to hit a point where your mobility stops. In the hopes and fears, we have the Knight of Swords. Now, the Knight of Swords card is about being able to discern. The Knight of Swords is somebody who's very concerned with justice, social causes, with what's right and what's wrong, and delineating these things, and cutting things out based on what is right and what is wrong, although not necessarily the level of discernment that you get with the King of Swords. So this is more based on what is perceived to be morally just, rather than what is right for me. But you are hoping that you'll be able to see these causes for what they are and clear things out of your life based on that level of discernment. Here in the midheaven, we have the Eight of Pentacles, and it is reversed. So this Eight of Pentacles is an energy of long-term career prospects, and showing up in the midheaven, that is a very good position. Now, most people do not dream of labor, and we can see that depicted on this card. The Eight of Pentacles is depicted as all these time clocks here, and this guy is kind of like, one thing that I always felt when I was working for other people is that you are consistently buying your time back from them instead of them buying your time from you. It does kind of look like you, Malik. And so in this particular deck, this Eight of Pentacles kind of has that extra added layer because of the way the artwork is done. And there's not really a closure to that, to having a successful long-term career, right? There are certain elements of it that bring closure, the stability, the security, but I feel like that might not be exactly what you are looking for, Aries. And now finally here, in the final outcome position, we do have the Hanged Man. Now keep in mind that the time span for these readings could be very short. These are readings I kind of do on an ongoing, rotating basis. So one day will be fire and air signs, you guys. And then another day will be the water and the earth signs, the passive energy signs. So where we have the Eight of Swords in the future and the Hanged Man showing up, these are feelings of being trapped, of needing to sacrifice to move forward. And honestly, even the Temperance card going with this Hanged Man energy, where the Hanged Man kind of like has these implications that the sacrifices that you are making is to gain some kind of knowledge and expertise, even if that is the knowledge of experience, right? So what I'm mostly getting for you, Aries, at this time is that it's kind of a period where you're evaluating the amount of training that you have received. And you may decide to go and continue your education. You may decide to get more training in a certain area. And this Three of Swords in the reverse is very key. Any situations you find yourself in where there's a high level of conflict. Now, this is not Five of Swords energy, but this is more like just squabbling. It's like, people always disagreeing with each other. Now, disagreement can bring about discourse. So I see that reflected here too, in that it's not the discourse that you're trying to avoid. It is the cancel culture that comes along with it sometimes. But what you're trying to do is find what is right and true, and not even necessarily right and true for you, Aries, as much as it is just right and true for everyone in general. And part of that is going to be making sacrifices for the betterment of everyone. But I wouldn't feel trapped. You can only feel as trapped as you allow yourself to be. This is not, this is a general reading, so I'm going to assume. Oh, thank you, a Shaman Knight. I really appreciate that. I'm going to assume that most of you are not getting ready to do a stint in the penitentiary, and especially with this Eight of Pentacles showing up in the midheaven position. This seems to me to have more to do with like work situations. And you will only be as trapped in those as you allow yourself to be. It's very important to remember that you should not be buying your time back from your employer. They should be compensating you for the work that you are doing for them. All right, Aries, well, I think that pretty much wraps up your reading for this particular cycle. And do remember that there will be additional messages over in the extended where I evaluate the energies again and with the crystal. And we will move on to the sign of Leo. And I do want to take a moment and thank you all for showing up today. Alright, Leo, so make sure that you set your intention and thinking about what it is that you'd like guidance with or about. how you'd like to move forward into the new year. And okay, cool. All right, Leo. So start here in the current position. We have the Hierophant reversed. The Hierophant can show up reversed for a number of reasons. This is a Taurian energy, and remember that Taurus is a sign associated with comfort, stability. Taurians can be very slow to move, but once they are headed in a certain direction, they are almost unstoppable. Sometimes accused of being stubborn. It is a fellow fixed sign energy, and a very harmonious one, as Taurus is also the element of earth. The Hierophant represents sometimes the relationship with the higher power, and also acting as an intermediary between the higher power and either people around you, or also possibly your own id and subconscious mind. We have the superconscious mind, and then we've got like the subconscious mind. The superconscious mind is pretty much always in contact with the higher power. A lot of people suppress theirs. The subconscious mind is like all of the baser emotions that you experience, like a jealousy, love, rage, all of these things. And not all of them are bad. It's just what I like to call lizard brain. These are your instincts that help you survive. So there might be a break in the communication there between the superconscious and the subconscious. It's also possible that at this time, Leo, you are kind of redefining a lot of things about your spirituality. It could be about your presentation, like clothing, hair, how you do your persona. It can be about heretical thoughts also, that you are rejecting things about the status quo, that when people tap into the status quo, what they're tapping into is a form of egregore. And so that's very similar to organized religion, right? So when you are tapping into that, you gain the power and strength that comes from that comes from doing what everyone else is doing, pushing it up higher in the algorithm, right? And the crossing card that we have for the Hierophant in the reverse is the 10 of Cups. Hi, Marcos. Shout out to Brazil. Thank you for coming. So the 10 of Cups is an emotional completion. Whatever it is that you are doing in reference to this Hierophant in the reverse, I think it's bringing you emotional fulfillment. So that leads me to believe that there could be some heresy involved. There could be some complete subversion of dominant norms that you are playing with right now, and it is bringing you great satisfaction, Leo. Here in the past, we have the King of Coins, the King of Pentacles. Now, the King of Pentacles can also be a little bit stuck in his own energy and can be... It is earth sign energy. It's air of earth, so we have that duality there between air and earth energies. Very grounded, but also open to new ideas, just not very quick to take them up. The King of Coins is also a pinnacle of financial success. So this could represent that in the past you had reached, hi FIFA, a pinnacle of your own financial success. And that is providing for you into the current state of affairs. So because the card is upright, that this is a continuing situation for you. Oh, I'm well, FIFA. How are you doing today? Thank you for coming. Leo, in the Imam Silai position, we have the Ten of Swords, and it is showing up in the reverse. Oh, thank you, FIFA. The Ten of Swords is a card of endings, and this showing up reversed, it could be that you are anticipating something to end. You could be trying to bring this ending, although oftentimes that kind of directed action is depicted more as an Ace of Swords type of energy. The Ten of Swords can sometimes come from without and be enforced upon us. Hear from your perspective. Oh, I'm glad to hear you're doing well today, FIFA. From your perspective, we have the Ace of Wands. Now, the Ace of Wands is a card of new beginnings. It's a card of masculine potency and fertility, and of strength and power. It can be a torch lighting your way into the future. It is energy and vigor. So I feel like at this time, you feel like you have the energy to carry yourself through whatever it is that you desire to achieve. And it does speak to a turnover of that Ten of Swords cycle. However, we're kind of shifting energies now from the active energy of swords into the active energy of wands. Wands are a much warmer energy, fire energy, of course, as opposed to the air energy, the ideas. The fire energy, now we're kind of like trying to catalyze things and bring them down into the physical from the airy fairy. From an outsider's perspective, we have the Queen of Pentacles. And this Queen of Pentacles, it's very similar to the King of Pentacles, right? Here she's holding the bunny being the king. Bunnies are very fertile, they're very prolific in their reproductive process. So it's implying that your material possessions and wealth will proliferate, right? People from the outside looking in, the Queen of Pentacles is water of earth energy, water of earth. So these are both passive energies. This could be about passive income. It could also be about having achieved a certain level of financial success, and then additionally having forms of passive income, being receptive to new money coming into you. So coming from a place of abundance, which then fosters more abundance in your life, Leos. Here in the future, we have the Page of Wands in the reverse. Now, this could be a new creative collaboration coming into your life, a new creative project. I do see that this creativity is very important to you because we do have the Ace of Wands here. And Wands fire energy is that spark of creativity. It's that spark of life that brings creation. It's the electricity running through Dr. Frankenstein's laboratory, right? So the Page of Wands could be a new creative project that comes into your life. It could be offered to you in the form of some kind of contract. It could be also somebody coming into your life who would be probably kind of young. The pages are very young. Somebody who could be a fire sign. Doesn't need to be a fire sign though, but is going to have that enthusiasm. This is going to be somebody who's enthusiastic. In love readings, the Page of Wands, you don't necessarily want to see there because it's somebody who's mostly interested in a physical relationship and is kind of immature. But if we're talking about hiring employees, I highly recommend Page of Wands because this person is going to be very eager to learn. They might not have the most expertise, but they're very enthusiastic about what they are doing. And because this card is in the reverse, I don't think you see this situation yet, but I do think it could be coming into your life, Leo, very soon. Here in the hopes and fears position, we have the Seven of Wands. So you are hoping to achieve what others want. You are hoping to get to a point where you stand and look down at previous situations that you've been in and are able to see how much you have accomplished and to be envied by others. That is another aspect of this Seven of Wands energy as well, because the implication is that this person here, who looks a bit like Peter Pan, is having to defend this position. I do like that the Wands suit in this deck is a very aligned with the story of Peter Pan. We have, like the Page of Wands looks a bit like one of the sleepy children, and then we have the Seven of Wands that looks very much like Peter Pan. Oh geez, are we gonna have an internet outage? Let's see. Come back? Yeah, okay, good. I don't want to lose my internet signal. My Ethernet cable is on the way, but as you know, around the Christmas season, it's very difficult to have things delivered on time. So here in the midheaven position, now we are looking at the eventual outcome of what we're seeing here in the Imam Silai, that you are pushing and pushing for an end to something. We have the Four of Cups. Now, it is reversed, but I think that it's reversed because this is the midheaven position, and we're talking about things that will be coming in the future. The future. So, the Four of Cups is a card of wistful longing in some ways, contemplation, evaluation. You have maybe 4 choices that you could make. Now, on this particular card, we don't have the chalices depicted. We have the Little Mermaid, and she's sitting on this rock and thinking about, do I want to live in the water or do I want to live on land? Now, that is a binary choice. That is a binary decision. There could be, I guess, a third option there that she hasn't considered, right? There are a few different options there. Maybe you could be, we're very mermaid inclusive these days. I believe they have mermaid exhibits at places like SeaWorld and Disney World. And, if she worked at a place like that, she wouldn't have to give up her life in the water. And she could still have friends who lived on the land. But by that same token, I'm sure a princess does not dream of labor. So maybe that wouldn't be it either. But you will have choices to evaluate in the future, and be able to decide among those which one you like the best. Because the final outcome card, we have the Magician. Now, I can see we already have a card here that's a lot like the Magician, right? We've got the Ace of Wands. You are pushing very hard for a certain manifestation. And the Magician even has this wand in his hand. Are we back? Okay. Good, we're back. Let me just make sure. Come up here. I want to make sure because sometimes when it reconnects, it doesn't save properly. So I need to, and this is kind of a cliffhanger. So sorry about that. Okay, hopefully I'm still alive. So Leo, where we have this Magician card in the reverse in the future, that tells me that you do not yet see the mechanism by which this manifestation will come into your life. Oh, hello from Poland. Hekas este bibeloi. Yes, indeed. So keep pushing. Keep challenging yourself. Keep reaching out there. And this manifestation will be coming in for you. But you have to keep pushing. You have to keep up your momentum. And you will be given guideposts. So follow the guideposts. All right, Leo. So that is going to conclude the Leo reading for this cycle. And now we will move on to the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius. Hello, Sagittarius. All right, so let me write down your timestamp. And remember, I have turned the cards over face down so that we can go over into the members portion of the channel and get additional messages if that interests you. Sagittarius, if you would, set your intention and think about what it is you'd like to bring into your life. Over the next year, we're heading into a new Gregorian calendar year, of course. And the winter is a very Ten of Swords kind of a time, right? So, kind of in the springtime, we're cycling into that new growth period. This is a great time to set intentions. This winter solstice is coming up like tomorrow. So that provides a lot of opportunity to really cement what it is that you're working on for the next year. Okay, Sagittarius, here's the flop. I think that's what they call it in casinos, right? When they deal out the cards. Whoa, Sagittarius, you have a lot of wands coming out in your reading so far. Just like a lot of fire energy. It's hot. Sorry. You know I like to have a good time and tell stupid jokes. Sagittarius, in your current state of affairs, we have the Queen of Cups in the reverse. So, you could be keeping your feelings hidden toward another person, or toward a situation. And I say that because this is showing up in the current position. So typically when we have this card showing up in the current position, whatever court card it is, it's probably going to represent you, the querent. Okay, Sagittarius? So you don't necessarily need to have water sign energy in your chart. Especially the Queen of Cups is water of water energy, which means that you've got the surface layer with all the little ripples and bubbles, and then down underneath you have all of your whales and porpoises and kraken seething under the surface. It is the depths of human emotion, the range, the sunlight which hits the top feeds the phytoplankton and is not able to penetrate down into the deep. I'm going to go with this focus for a minute because it illustrates my point. Crossing the Queen of Cups, we have the Nine of Wands. This is a very guarded energy. You are not just keeping your emotions hidden at this time, you're keeping them very guarded, and you feel defensive about something. So you could have been hurt in the past, because of course, who hasn't? And with all of these wands here, as I was saying in the Leo reading, could have a lot to do with romance, but could have a lot to do with your creativity. So for those of you Sagittarians who are involved in creative pursuits, art, music, even science to a degree, that could be speaking to having had your work suppressed a lot in the past and getting very in your feelings about it and now feeling very defensive. past, we have the Two of Wands in the reverse. So you have put a lot of planning into a certain situation. The Two of Wands is your vision boards. The Two of Wands is navigation. It is charting a course. It is planning a trip, looking at a map. All of these things. It could even be planning like a financial portfolio or things like that. It really applies to all of those things, all of these endeavors, and especially where they require creative thinking and ideas. The Two of Wands, you can also think about like goalposts. So you're looking at the goalposts. It's kind of, I remember there was a really dumb SNL sketch from like a while back where Andy Samberg just kept saying, "That's moving the chains." And I keep thinking about that, so I have to say it out loud or else it won't go away. But, so I think, oh, come on back, Cree. My connectivity is kind of like wavering today. It's a little bit frustrating. But I'll try to ramble enough that that you're still able to get the meanings, even if my internet is a little fluctuating. Down here in the MMCLI, we now have a progression forward from that Two of Wands into the Three of Wands. And the Three of Wands is coming out upright. This means that things are returning to you. So whatever this planning process was, and you can tell that I've shuffled these cards because this one's reversed and this one is upright. Whatever that planning process was from the past, it was successful. And you are now seeing the fruits of that entering your life. So what's there to be defensive about? Well, from your perspective, we have here the sun, and it is in the reverse. And I believe this is Amaterasu, who is a solar deity, and locked herself in a cave for a period of time because she didn't like what was going on. I don't remember the specifics of every single myth from around the world, so I won't speak on it too much. That is what I remember of this story. There is a lot of success associated with the Sun card. Even in the reverse, it's an excellent card to get in your reading. From your perspective, I think that you see things as being very good right now. Very headed in the right direction. But there are things about it which leave you unsatisfied somehow. And things about it where you still feel like you need to be on your guard, I think. I think more than anything else, it's probably that there's a lack of trust in the situation that leaves it incomplete like this. From an outsider's perspective, we have the Three of Cups in the reverse. So it could be that others perceive that the close friends with whom you surround yourself are not good for you. That's a possibility. Three of Cups in the reverse can also be read as a three-party situation, a love triangle. If this is a love reading, I don't perceive it as much as being a love reading as I do just about like your creativity and romance, possibly in a more general sense. So it could be that the people that you have brought the closest to you just happen to not be very loyal, or perhaps happen to not be terribly well suited to your higher goals and your higher purpose. Here in the future, however, Sagittarius, this probably takes the cake for good card placements for the readings for this cycle for you. We have the King of Wands, and this card is in the upright. So this card is all about leading by persuasion, not manipulation, but leading by persuasion. The King of Wands is a very charming and charismatic leader, very creative, and I think that you already see yourself as this person. It's only going to take for others around you to pick up on that as well. Here in the hopes and fears, we do have the Four of Swords. You are hoping that you will get an opportunity for rest and relaxation at some point soon. Here in the midheaven position, we get the Wheel of Fortune turning in your favor. So I think that whatever it is that is starting to come into your life now, you are going to see that turn in fortune. And I think you are already seeing, because we already have evidence of this coming into your life, right? You're going to be seeing that more and more. And it's going to come in cycles. So there's going to be kind of like an ebb and a flow to it that's bringing these energies into your life, okay? And I also wanted to point out that the Wheel of Fortune is Jupiter's card in the major arcana. And Jupiter, of course, being the planet associated with wealth and expansion. Very magnanimous and powerful. And now we're hitting the hour-long mark and closing out the Sagittarius reading with the final outcome card. And here we have the Four of Coins. The Four of Coins is about holding on to things. This is about holding on to your money, holding on to your energy. As we see Rapunzel kind of up here in this tower. And of course, she was being held captive because she was a treasure. She had this treasure of her long and lustrous hair, right? But you can't keep these things locked up so tight, right? With this defensive Nine of Wands energy, you can't keep everything locked up so tight that no one ever sees it. It's about holding on to things, but being able to show them to other people at the same time. In this particular reading, I'm going to take the context of the Four of Coins to be about holding on to the rights to your intellectual property, copyright law, trademarking, any of these things that are related to making sure that you get properly compensated for your intellectual property. To me, that seems like what might have been going on before. Something having to do with that, holding on to your ideas, but still being able to get them out there in a creative way is going to be what this card seems to be about. All right, fire signs. Thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate your support. If you want, you can join us over on the extended in the members portion of the channel. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you again. very soon.